So this is probably like the worst chosen topic that I could ever do for an episode of Pain Talk. Not because of the topic itself, more so because of the timing, right? Anything I say in this video about misinformation on the internet is going to be not even outdated within the coming months and years, weeks, to be honest, but like not even in the same realm of conversation. Like this video a week from today is going to be like asking a guy in the 1800s what he thinks about iPhones, right? Because with AI, with how fast these things are moving, the landscape of what it means to misinform as a whole is going to change, right? Like Sora 2 is the model of like video creation that ChatGPT or OpenAI, those guys are doing. And I mean, it's crazy, right? I've seen discussions already happening about how this new technology is going to change the legal field forever, like how we enter evidence, how we judge evidence, how we do crime court or whatever. I'm not a lawyer, I don't know. But all I do know is that if they're talking about this altering what truth means in the legal system, I mean, is misinformation even going to be a concept on the internet in a month? Like, is it even going to be, like, are we going to be just like in a post-misinformation, disinformation era where all information is treated as equally invalid? Because, I mean, that seems like where it's going, right? I think for that reason, though, on the other side of that, that's also why I'm sort of interested in discussing this. Because I think that... Whoa, I just dropped that. We're going in with a brush now, I guess. I was kind of looking forward to trying for the first time working with a palette knife today, because I've never done it before, and I've always seen it, but nope, that's fine. You know, God had other plans for me, so, you know, that's cool. It's good for that. The reason, though, on the other side of that, why I do want to do this right now, right, even though I do feel it's probably going to become pretty irrelevant soon, is because I think maybe it can, you know, so many times I've read a book, right, like I read a book from 2004 about growing loneliness, right, and I found it so insightful, right? David Foster Wallace, Infinite Jest, is about entertainment addiction to entertainment. He wrote that before the iPhone, right, and I find it more insightful about the modern day than anything else. So I kind of was like, even if something's about to become outdated, maybe its archaicness will become insightful one day. Like maybe someday I'll be able to look back on my own kind of insights here and be like, oh, like, you know, that helps me understand the current situation, because I have no idea where we're going, right? That's why I'm interested in doing this above all. And because, let's face facts, it's a fun topic. Misinformation boggles my mind, like how it happens, right? Obviously, there's like the easy answer here. You put a billion, I mean, how many people use the internet? Like, it's got to be a billion, right? You put a billion people in one place, and yeah, of course, like they're gonna be lying, you know, and some of those lies are gonna get out, and they're gonna be popularized and things like that, right? But I'm not quite interested in that, right? I'm not quite interested in that as an answer, because I think the far more interesting question here is, where does it originate? Who are there people out there who are quite literally doing misinformation for fun? When a lie gets out, right? Where does that lie come from? Where does it start, right? I'm gonna do one thing at the front of this video, because I think this is gonna be a stupid discussion otherwise. I'm not gonna be entertaining the idea of like, oh, it's all government stuff or whatever. Like, I know when this topic comes up, people love being like, oh my god, it's this other, like a government's doing it, or it's like you know, they throw around like buzzwords and are like, it's that, right? I'm not interested in that. Like, I'm not, maybe, you know, it could be very true. I'm sure that there's validity to these theories. I don't doubt that, like, you know, if I was the government, yeah, I'd probably be wanting to use the internet to get some words out, right? I'm sure, like, that makes sense. But like, I just think there are more than enough dumb guys on the internet for there to be some homegrown disinformation, misinformation, all these things, right? Like, opening Twitter for 10 minutes will give you more than enough knowledge that the government does not need to switch around narratives, right? Like, they're going to get switched around because that's just, it's more, I think, a feature of the medium of the internet, if you will, than any sort of anything else. Because I don't see how, it's honestly, I'll say this, right, to cap off this, because I don't want to go on about the government stuff, find it boring, right? I'll cap it off with this, right? government, if you're watching this, if you are doing disinformation, any government, like if you know, Turkmenistan, this is for you specifically. I know you guys are the big culprit. No, but I mean, like, it's a waste of money. Like, we're doing it ourselves. People are misinforming themselves. You don't need to do any propaganda, right? You don't need to do anything like that. So that's where I want to know, like, are there people, this is sort of the question that got me thinking about this. Like, are there people out there? Are there guys who literally just sit, like, on the internet and they're like, I just lie for fun, right? Because at first I was like, there's no way, right? Like, I at first, when I thought of this question, was like, oh, the answer must be that it's all just confusion, right? You know, somebody goes like, oh, I watched, you know, I saw this thing, what is this? And then the person confused and goes, oh, it's this, right? When it wasn't that at all, and that kind of just gets ran with and, you know, spreads everywhere. And then I think another thing that we could look at here too is like, so much of, if you read like a news article nowadays, so much of like what they'll quote from news articles just comes from Twitter and Reddit and stuff like that. Like, it'll be like a news article on something that's fairly serious, and they'll quote like, this is what people are saying on Reddit. And like, that's like a real thing that happens now. So I think because of that, like, it becomes almost a self-perpetuating thing where, like, you know, somebody lies, then that lie spreads a little bit, then that lie gets reinforced because a more official person picks it up, right? Like, I think we could say that too is definitely part of it. But what I was operating on at first was like, there's no way that like people are just out there lying for fun. But I don't know now. Like, I genuinely don't know. Because I'm thinking, I always think of myself in these scenarios, right? Because it's the only person I can. I don't know, but I'm not anybody else, right? So I think of myself and I'm like, do I ever lie for fun? And the answer is yes, totally. And we've all done it when you're with your friends and they're like, did you get a haircut? And you did, but you're like, let's see if I can do it. And you're just like, no, I didn't. Like, everybody, like, that's like a funny thing. But to me, like, and first maybe I was like, oh, that's the answer, right? People lie on the internet because it's like that. Like, it's like, let's see if I could do that. But the reason I, like, in that scenario, like, where I'll do a bit like that, the reason I'm doing that is to get the reaction of my friend when I go, nah, I'm messing with you. Like, and that's what that is, right? When you know, are lying for fun to your friends, you are doing it because you want their reaction when you eventually reveal that lie is fake. Or, you know, maybe you and another friend will be like, oh my God, let's tell them that, like, you, I don't know, like, saved a cat from a tree the other day and see if we can get them to believe it. Like, stuff like that, right? And then you reveal it. Like, the fun in that is not just lying for fun. You're lying, it's a prank, I guess, right? So, like, where is the fun in that on the internet? Are there groups of people, I guess this would make sense, are there groups of people online who, like, maybe are like, let's see how far we can get a lie. Like, let's see if we can make something up and have it, like, reach the New York Times. Like, is that what they're doing? Is that where these lies come from? Because here's the thing about disinformation on the internet, right? It's such or I'm using disinformation and misinformation interchangeably. I know that's like the two different things, but I don't care. This isn't a scholarly report. This is just, you know, I can, you know, just information that's wrong is kind of what I'm going with here. I wonder if that's what it is, right? Because I think that so much of this conversation is so difficult because it exists on two levels, right? This is a very, like, the internet's a very individualist place in terms of, like, we're all just, like, people who are doing things on the internet as one person, right? But, like, I wouldn't go as far as being, like, groups of people hold power on the internet. Maybe you could argue fan bases do in some contexts, but largely the internet is comprised of a bunch of people doing individual actions, right? They're independent users, they're using the internet. Like, that makes sense to all of us, right? But, like, on the other hand, it's also, since there's so many individual users, you can only actually ever get to what's going on, quote unquote, by looking at just, like, massive trends, right? Like, just, like, a huge amorphous blob of people going in different directions, and you gotta try and parse through that to get to something. And I think that's one of the reasons it's so hard to discover what anything really is on the internet. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were groups of people who were into, like, fabricating this for fun. Should they get a job? Like that, yeah, I'd say. But, you know, I also understand that so much of internet culture is based around being as unserious as possible, right? Like videos like the one I'm doing where I just like earnestly sit and like, what this mean, what that mean? Like these are the exception on the internet. Most things on the internet are jokes or they're memes. They're, you know, like irony is kind of the language of the internet. This is something we've discussed at length on this channel. And because of that, like, you know, I think that makes complete sense that a group of people would try and do that. But like, on the other hand, you know, it's, let's zoom out from like thinking like that makes some sense to also say, you're trying to tell me that all the disinformation on the internet could come from a very small consolidated number of people who are just into like lying for fun to see if they can get away with it. I mean, that seems a little silly, no? Right? Like that seems a little crazy to me. So I'm not like, well, I don't doubt the fact that that could be a thing that's happening. Like I think that's a very realistic possibility. And it will go as far as saying like, probably true, right? I don't think that's not all of it, right? Like that's not where all the disinformation on the internet comes from. That's like where some of it does, or a very small amount of it, very specific things. Like it makes sense to me if you're a group of people on the internet, right? And you're like, we don't like this person, right? Maybe it's a, public figure of some sort, right? I think it makes sense that that group of people would be like, I'm gonna go lie about this person, right? And just like either because I don't like them or see if I can get away with it. And sometimes those lies will get to very high levels and like rumors spread because of haters, I guess, is the simple way of trying to put what I'm saying. But how much of the internet lies are actually that, right? That's like a tough, I mean, that's something I doubt we'll ever be able to figure out, but like that's a tough thing, kind of makes the whole thing fall apart, right? Like, do we think all the lies are because of haters? No, that's stupid, right? I think that like there is an angle here where we focus less on individuals as who is spreading the lies on the internet and like more just question the medium of the internet, right? Like maybe it's kind of a circular definition, right? Like this is kind of out there, so stay with me for a second. Hopefully I can explain this okay. In the same way that if I were to say all painters use paint, right? Or all musicians make music, you would go, yeah, duh, like that's how that works. Maybe it's not too dissimilar from saying all internet users spread disinformation. I know that seems crazy, but what if the way that the medium of the internet works, where everything is moving so fast, and we've discussed before how I refer to it as like ephemeral, like it's very much in time, right? Nothing exists on your feed past when you swipe past it, and it all just like goes on to create an image for you of something, some sort of like impression of what reality is, right? Like very much kind of this fast moving thing. What if like the internet, just because of the way it works, causes misinformation to happen? Like because of the way that these things function, right? Like that is, I think, a theory that might have more credence than I'm willing to give it. Also, more credence than I can give it, because how do I prove that or disprove that? I can say on one level, on like a level of personal experience, I have never come onto the internet with the intention of spreading misinformation. Like not even like I'll do a bit with my friend, like I was lying, or like I said, I've never in my life been like, it'd be funny to go on the internet and spread a lie. Like I've never thought that, right? Because I've like, you know, why would I do that? But I can say undoubtedly, and I don't know where, but I can just like numbers wise, I've probably spread misinformation on the internet in one of these very videos. I've turned on a camera and talked about things I'm thinking about for every day for 284 days now. In that time, there's no way there's not 100 lies that I've told, just accidentally, because of something I saw that was fake and I didn't register it as fake. And I am I think I'm closer to the average creator in the way I make content than maybe I'm willing to assume, right? Because I'm thinking like, okay, like, yeah, I'm a dumbass and I tell people that watch my videos never listen to anything I say because I know I'm gonna mess stuff up, right? I know that's just gonna happen. I don't have time to research every claim I see in a day, and if I'm being casual and conversational, it's gonna come up, right? And I've always thought like, that's me, but like most other YouTubers, you know, if you're a video essayist, you're fact checking, things like that, right? But the majority of internet usage, not YouTubers, is not people making YouTube essay videos. It's people on TikTok who turn around their camera and just talk real quick. It's people on Twitter who have something that they were thinking about and just say it. I can't imagine that. I'm not really on Reddit enough to say for sure, but I can't imagine Reddit and, 4chan and these other platforms don't function similarly, where it's a lot faster paced than the average thing, right? So what if because of that, if I can look at myself, somebody who I like to consider myself, maybe this is unfair, I do like to consider myself somebody that like cares about the truth, right? I can say honorably that I've never lied on purpose here, right? If I can be honest enough to look through my catalog and be like, there's no way I haven't lied at least 100 times and accidentally spread misinformation, big, large, middle, whatever it may be, right? What is it for the average internet user then? I can't imagine it's much lower, right? If you're somebody who speaks on everything, without fact checking yourself, yeah, you're probably lying a lot. You're probably, and accidentally too. That's the key thing here, is it's accidental. So I guess I think there's a conclusion to come to that, how does misinformation happen on the internet is kind of just a dumb question. And maybe that's where we'll end up concluding with AI too, right? Eventually, as I said at the beginning of this, at the front of this, I think with AI video generation, we're gonna almost get to an era where it's all information has been created equally invalid, right? And maybe that's been the honest state of the internet the whole time, just because of the way things move. Maybe all information has been equally invalid for a long time now, and AI is just the final conclusion of that. Because it certainly seems like it to me, looking at how things work. I can't think of many other ways that this could happen on an individual level. So I do have to just assume it's the medium. That's what I think. That's kind of where I've landed today. So I don't know. What do you guys think? How does misinformation spread? Maybe one of you knows one of these guys that goes around just lying on the internet for fun. And I want to ask them about that. I want to know what that is. Is there a rush associated? I guess I could see it being funny if I guess if you go into a live stream and say to the streamer I don't know, there's a guy behind you, and see how they a prank like that. I guess that's funny or whatever, right? Because to me, the only reason pranks are ever funny is the reaction, right? They're not just funny in a void. So I don't understand, but that's also a dumb thing, because how much of the internet usage is live streamers? Not that much. Not nearly. And if this was where every piece of misinformation was coming from, we would be seeing every live streamer just this happen to them. I've never seen a clip of a live streamer being pranked. Probably because they don't read when their chat says there's somebody behind you, right? I'm probably not. This is why I'm not a live streamer, because I feel I would fall for that. I feel I'd be no, and then we'll do the thing I look behind me just to check, I do that. My friends do that to me on FaceTime. That's a different point. This is the painting. New color palette, and I tried, so this is very simple, obviously. It's very simple in comparison to what we've been doing, very simple in comparison to what we're probably going to continue to do. Once I get this palette brush off the ground, you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And the reason I kept it simple is because I actually put a lot of effort into mixing these colors, and I wanted to see how they worked, right? Pink background, easy. Green for contrast, right? That's the first thing. I mix a slight bit of the pink and the green, though, into the black, and the pink is also a slight bit of the hue is in all the green, and I want to see if it gave the picture some more harmony. I don't know. I feel I always do this, but I want to look at this in comparison next some other paintings where I haven't done that before. I do believe I have some green paintings on a pink background, so I'll look there to see if it has the same degree of cohesiveness. That's the word, cohesiveness to the picture. But to me, this just, all I can focus on is how bad the cube is. I feel this isn't a cube. But yeah, go check us out on the TikTok and the Instagram. And until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Dice. This has been Painting Talk episode 283. Every morning, painting and talking with you all.